Keir Starmer is a coward. To be honest, the entire Labour government are cowards, but Starmer is a special kind of spineless. Our Prime Minister has no conviction, no vision, and no plan to govern. All he has is a failed ideology and an iron determination to impose it on the rest of us, no matter the cost. Hi, I'm Simon Evans. Today, we're going to explore exactly how we ended up governed by a cowardly man, and how we got here in the first place. When the Southport riots happened, after the horrific murder of 3 defenceless little girls at a Taylor Swift dance class, Keir Starmer didn't come out to speak to the grief and outrage of the British public. Instead, he branded the people expressing that anger a tiny, mindless minority and a gang of thugs. He didn't appeal for calm while understanding the fury. He immediately pivoted to promising state retribution against those voicing angry views online. He warned social media companies that violent disorder clearly whipped up online, that is also a crime. And he ramped up the system with 24-hour courts and fast-track sentencing. Anyone involved, either directly or online, would feel the full force of the law and regret it. He did exactly the same more recently after Henry Nowak was murdered by a Sikh man, and completely failed by police who sided with the killer the moment he invoked the magic word racist. Starmer's first instinct was to ignore it entirely. Only after being shamed and reportedly pushed by colleagues who could actually read the room did he finally speak. Even then, when protests erupted outside Southampton police station over the shocking body cam footage, officers handcuffing a dying boy while he begged for help, Starmer was quick to denounce the protesters. He called them disgraceful, warned of the full force of the law, and pivoted straight to condemning far-right hatred and division instead of addressing the clear failures. So how does this make him a coward? Because Keir Starmer is driven at all times by his liberal ideology, not by the genuine concerns and fears of the British majority. In both Southport and the murder of Henry Nowak, the criminals belonged to protected minority groups. In Starmer's twisted worldview, normal human outrage, anger, and anxiety about the future is instantly labelled far-right extremism. This is pure hypocrisy. When George Floyd, a career criminal with a lethal dose of fentanyl and methamphetamine in his system, died in America, Starmer couldn't stop talking about it. He took the knee in Parliament for a foreign criminal. His death was horrific, yes, but had Floyd been a white man, Starmer would never have known his name, let alone knelt for him. All of his outrage is purely performative. I doubt he truly cares about Henry Nowak, or even George Floyd. He simply uses their deaths as props to reinforce his liberal worldview, and to justify silencing and imprisoning anyone who dares speak out against it. There is no courage in threatening ordinary people with prison from the highest office in the land. There is no character in a man who cannot apply consistent principles in diametrically opposed situations. There is only fear. Fear of losing power. Fear of losing control. Fear that his entire ideology is collapsing right in front of him. Another clear example of Keir Starmer's cowardice came with his response to the Unite the Kingdom march in London, organised by Tommy Robinson. In the run-up to the event, Starmer's government banned at least 11 foreign speakers from entering Britain. Among those blocked were prominent voices such as American influencer Valentina Gomez, Dutch commentator Eva Vladingerbroek, Polish MEP Dominik Tarczynski, Belgian politician Philip de Winter, and several others. Their crime? They were due to speak at the rally. Starmer and his Home Secretary declared that their presence in the country would not be conducive to the public good. Anyone with even a small modicum of conviction would be prepared to let opposing viewpoints be heard. But Starmer chose instead to simply ban them from the nation entirely, using the full arm of the state to silence dissenting voices. This is the strategy of tin pot dictators throughout history. Amusingly, many of the banned speakers simply appeared via huge screens on stage, live from abroad, mocking Starmer for apparently forgetting about the existence of the internet. And here's what makes it worse. The British people never asked for any of this. Since mass migration began in the 1960s, we have consistently voted against it, only to be met with broken promises and outright betrayal by one government after another. It is not strength to defy the clear wishes of the British people for decades, then demonise and criminalise them when that frustration finally erupts. It is deeply immoral. The British people are uniquely tolerant and slow to anger. But when that anger boils over, it is almost always for good reason. A leader with any moral fibre would listen, instead of responding with the boot of the state on our necks. This is what makes Keir Starmer and the wider elite not just weak, but something far worse. Ideological traitors to their own people. They have been so completely captured by a toxic progressive worldview that their first loyalty is no longer to the British nation, but to abstract ideals of diversity, globalism, and minority protection at all costs. They are so consumed with shielding foreigners and favoured minorities, even when those groups commit horrific violence against our children and communities, that they have turned on the native British people themselves. In their own minds, they are virtuous. They believe they are on the right side of history. But the first and most sacred duty of any government is to protect its own citizens above all else, especially from external threats. When that duty is abandoned, it is not compassion. It is betrayal. And Britain is paying for it every single day. In blood, in broken communities, and in a country that no longer feels like our own. Keir Starmer is a bully, and all bullies are ultimately cowards. The only way to stop them is by standing up for ourselves. We, the British people, must continue, through every legal and peaceful means available, to show this contemptible man our defiance. Because he and the rest of the elite class are scared. The Overton window is shifting rapidly in our favour. Right-thinking, honest Brits have finally had enough of these spineless cowards who presume to rule over us. Their endless accusations of extremism and racism are losing their power. We are at a crossroads in our history. If enough of us stand up to these woke tyrants, we can still build a better future for our country. The hour is late, but it is not too late to steer the ship of state into brighter waters. Please like this video and share it so more people can see it. I'll be making more videos like this, and most importantly, speak up, get involved locally, and vote like your children's future depends on it. Because it does. Together, we can take our country back. The silent majority will not stay silent any longer.